Hello and welcome to CX Today. My name is Charlie and today I'm joined by Neil Titcombe, Managing Director at Odigo, UK and Ireland. Neil, it's great to have you join us. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, Charlie. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's really great to have you here and discuss our CX Summit, where we're going to be finding out a little bit more about Odigo and kind of your vision of the CX future. So first things first, can you maybe give us a little bit of an intro about kind of what you do at Odigo and kind of your main focuses going forward?
Yeah, I'm very much happy to. My name's Neil Titcombe. I'm the MD of Odigo, as you say. I've been in the contact center industry now for about 25 years for my sins. Worked for most of the global leading vendors in the marketplace. I've been at Odigo just coming up 3 years. I'm responsible for the UK business. Odigo is a European leader in CCaaS enterprise technology. We are laser focused on providing the best customer experience to our large enterprise clients, and very proud to have a portfolio of some of the largest contact centers across Europe as Odigo customers.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. It'll be interesting to hear from my perspective, kind of as well, of kind of what your customers are kind of finding most value in their customer experience over the last 12 months. Where have they kind of really been profiting?
Yeah, it's been obviously a very fascinating period. We're coming out of COVID. We've been helping, like most brands in our space, our clients navigate a very difficult, challenging time. And I've seen the industry evolve over the last 3 years, particularly, but in the last 12 months, as we've kind of leveled off a bit in terms of the, if you can call it post-COVID world, of where the focus lies. And obviously, even outside of COVID, we're seeing a different number of challenges being levied on our clients, most recently with energy challenges and cost of living, etc., affecting their customers. So that tends to lead our clients down the good old self-service road. It can't be ignored. I think it's become ever present that consumers are expecting more intelligent self-service. They want more personalized and intuitive self-service, much further than the traditional sort of straightforward IVR approach, which and that still is too present in my view in a lot of contact centers. So I think lots of our clients have come to us to seek ways in which to get more intelligent services to put in place to treat their customers in a more personal way, but ultimately in a way that they can then service them 24/7 and obviously avoid them having to wait in what's been for a long time, particularly over the last 2 years, too long queues and that feeling where there's not enough capacity to cope with increased load in many different businesses. Examples of that would be in one of our leading energy clients that obviously struggled, like many energy companies, to manage their customers in challenging economic times and spikes in meter readings we've seen most recently and things like that. And some of the technologies that we've implemented to clients like that have dramatically helped them handle those huge peaks in volume, avoided too many live conversations where they weren't necessary. So I think self-service is certainly top of that. Interlinked in that will be the natural language evolution. We've seen a lot of clients now really start to embrace natural language understanding, natural language processing technologies to good effect. Whereas I think pre-COVID, it was still a bit of an unknown and not so much of a proven quantity as it were. And that's something which Odigo thinks we're well positioned to provide. And we've got some great examples of how our clients really maximize the value of using that particularly. So I think, from a value point of view, I would say that one really does stand out.
I think that's there's lots of really great examples there of kind of how the CX technology stack, particularly in the contact center, is evolving, especially since the pandemic, but also through kind of recent world disruption and kind of how that's causing kind of peaks in contact volumes and how you can manage those. I think there's lots of interesting stuff there. And you've kind of mentioned this a little bit already, but what have been the most popular products that kind of you as Odigo have kind of been working with companies to implement over the past 12 months?
Yeah, I think as I kind of alluded to, we have an application which we call Concierge, and that is very much focused around self-sufficiency using AI to get a much more personalized, intuitive experience for customers to navigate using natural language. As I alluded to, we've seen a definite uptake in the interest in application and delivery of that. Part of what Odigo does is commission some annual reports where we enlist organizations to conduct market research on our customers, you and I, and how we want to be managed and how our customer experience have adjusted and varied. And that's interesting because that really does validate this desire of all age groups, in all verticals, in all demographics and locations, even across the UK, to do more in less time, and obviously with more of a wider applicability to get information whenever I want it. So concierge definitely has been the standout product. Whilst it's not a product as such, we still must remember that in the enterprise market where Odigo focuses, which is the larger end of the contact center scale, our research tells us that still nearly 2/3 of those clients aren't even on a cloud, as a service platform. They are still retaining legacy applications of maybe 2 decades in some instances, that have been adjusted. And naturally, COVID exposed the frailties of not having the agility of a hosted service to both expand and add new applications. So I can't ever move away from the fundamental, which is, it's not unique to Odigo, but moving into a platform with a service-based hosted solution still stands out as, whilst not a product, as I say, as such, almost the number one imperative and driver as to why somebody would transition from a transformational platform level from a legacy solution into one of ours. Thirdly, and it's not surprising, but we mustn't equally, like the premise to cloud scenario, forget that still many clients are siloed with their multi-channel strategy. They don't have integrated customer journeys when it comes to looking at digital media versus how that works with the voice channel, and how that works at the desktop. And that's definitely, from a product point of view for us, best demonstrated with our alliances with companies like Salesforce and Pegasystems and others, to really assemble that customer journey at the desktop that's appropriate to the use case at the time and how the agent best works with that instance. So a number of things, but yeah, probably those three is what I would answer to that.
Yeah, I think there's fascinating insights in there, and kind of those reports as well that you mentioned at the start of your answer. I was reading an Odigo report on vulnerable customers the other day, and it was really insightful, actually. So I'd recommend everybody watching to kind of dig those, try and dig those out. I think it was with the CCMA, wasn't it? That you did that research with. Yeah, I think it's really interesting stuff, and also with your other kind of points along kind of how companies have kind of created this patchwork quilt almost of legacy systems, and now that's kind of restricting their agility. What used to differentiate their customer experience is now kind of being almost a blocker to the kind of the new reality that we're in, and also kind of the agent desktop tools. And I think there's lots of really kind of interesting things that have kind of been going on. But I think it'll be really interesting now, moving on from that question, to kind of hear what you've kind of got in store, what Odigo got in store for the next 12 months.
Yeah, well, it's an exciting period. We're always looking forward, as every technology company should, but we're equally learning from what we've seen in the past. So the first thing I would say is, from an innovation point of view and how we shape our future plans, and particularly our product roadmap, it's heavily influenced based on reports like that. So if we don't know what our customers are wanting, and what's not in their eyes optimal CX today, then we can't really look forward in a clear way. So I think what we've seen within that is there are still some fundamental gaps in customer experience along the lines of personalization and interconnectivity with customer journeys and experience. So the constant evolution of how we can make the very best of integrated applications at desktop is key. So we're always evolving our capabilities with providers like Salesforce is an obvious example. Lots of companies have integrations to the Salesforce ecosystem. We think ours is particularly strong, and that's been commended by them. And we've got great customer feedback within it. So whilst it's quite subtle and not so obvious, the evolution of those applications and integrations are critical and continue within our roadmap. Pegasystems, another example of that. We've got a very large mutual client with Pegasystems using their application desktop, and the evolution and adjustment of that is also critical to those big clients, but also the future state. From a partnership point of view, which is also heavily part of the roadmap, since Odigo divested from Capgemini back at the end of 2020, we've expanded our portfolio of partnerships across the SI landscape. So we've got some very exciting new collaborations with some very large systems integrators that is giving us great reach and great power of two, if you like, into some of the largest enterprises in the UK and across Europe, in fact. So that continues to work at pace, which is exciting because we didn't have those relationships just 18 months ago. And then, from an infrastructure point of view, we're always looking to evolve our applications to ensure they can be deployed in the most succinctly, speediest way. So, looking at different operating models of how we deploy the services across the world with multi-tenant solutions using different applications, etc. We have to be, or we try to be, because of the size of our clients. I hate the expression, but almost all things to all men, in the sense that we need to be agile to sort of sometimes handle regulatory or security requirements of certain specific clients, be it public sector or otherwise, for example, financial services, whilst at the same time appeasing the client which needs something quickly, which needs an application stood up at pace, which is malleable and adjustable and can be, and where applicable, and managed and configured and controlled by them. So there's almost three strands. There's the alliance adoption in terms of our acceleration into the SI world. There's the infrastructure improvements to enable us to provide different varieties of our solution from infrastructure in different settings, in different paces, in different verticals. And then there's the natural focus on just innovation, of how we can make the most of what we've invested already with AI products, with digital applications and desktop and broader integrations into third-party solutions like Pega, Salesforce, Nuance, Google. The list is long. So it's exciting. We're always looking forward. We have a measured approach to forward thinking. I don't want to overpromise, but we do have clearly always at least 18 months eye on the future, and we've got some great people in the team across the world developing at pace, both in line with our current customers' new ideas and also our predictions as to what our client base of the future wants and how that aligns to the research that we've conducted.
Yeah, I appreciate you narrowing that down for me, because obviously Odigo, from what you actually can tell, has got such a broad portfolio of solutions. And I think there's lots of really kind of fascinating points that you mentioned there. But as I said, because there is such a big kind of portfolio, obviously there's a lot that we haven't discussed. Where can the viewers go to find out more about kind of Odigo and what you do?
Well, obviously, come and find us at the CX Hub, right, as part of this program, where there'll be a lot more information available, and naturally odigo.com, where there's a whole plethora of use cases, customer reference, and details on our products and applications, and our client successes, which is always, I think, the best way to validate what I'm saying in terms of how they've experienced improvement in their customer experience and their customer feedback accordingly. So yeah, please, those two would be a great place to start.
Excellent. Yeah, and I think that's a great place to end today's chat. But thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome, Charlie. It's great to talk to you.
Excellent. And thank you, everybody, for watching. Goodbye.
Thanks very much.